today's video, I'm going to be showing you how an internal combustion engine works. So apparently a lot of people don't know how an internal combustion engine works. It actually kind of astounds me that a lot of people don't know. It's a very simplistic and easy thing to understand, and actually one of the reasons why I'm making this video is because one of my friends I thought he knew how one worked. Apparently he doesn't, so I'm going to show him, and hopefully he actually gets something from this video. So first things first, I'm going to draw two separate engines. One which is the intake, and one which is the exhaust, or the releasing of the gases. So the first things that we're going to build is the block. Everything attaches to the block. Okay, so the cranks, the headers, everything attaches to it. Okay, so keep that in mind. So one, two. See if I can get them kind of proportion right. This one is way okay. That one's really bad. Oh well, you'll have to deal with it. So this is the block, and this is gonna be off of a motorcycle engine instead of a car engine. It's less complicated, and this is a little easier, and it's actually, it's a more simple engine to understand than a car engine. So this is the block, okay? Block, okay? Now, first things first is the thing that you always know is the piston. The piston is what takes, the piston is, how do I explain this? How do I explain this so you guys understand it? An explosion happens right up here, okay? Gas and air get mixed, and it gets on the top of the engine, okay? And an explosion happens, which the piston is pushed down. Okay, so, and when it's pushed down, there is the connecting rod, and here is the crankshaft. This right here, I would make this the crankshaft, okay? Right here is the crankshaft, okay? I'll also make another one for you, so you can understand, okay? So here is the intake stroke plus the power stroke, okay? Actually, that's not really the power stroke, that's the intake stroke. And here is the power stroke. See how the piston is up here and then down here. Okay. And then the crank is down here, but also shoots up there. Okay. You understand? So this piece right here, the crank, spins around. So every time this fires, it spins. It spins, okay? So it goes boom, boom, boom. So you get the idea. So this piece, so when an explosion happens, it pushes down, spinning it, okay? And then goes back up, and it repeats over and over and over again until it runs out of oxygen and air. Oxygen and gasoline. So that's pretty easy to understand, okay? Now, with this, we're gonna add another component on. How does it get the gas and air into it? Well, there's two ways. There's one from a carburetor and one from a fuel injector, okay? Carburetor, which I will do the carburetor because carburetors they're common on motorcycles, and it's much easier to tune and understand. So a carburetor would be about right here. So this is where the carburetor would sit, okay? Also known as a carb, so I'll just make it, okay? So that's the carburetor. So air and gas, and I'm actually gonna I'm just gonna have a little access port. So whoosh over here. Make gas. So that's where the gas sits, okay? And gas comes in through here. Air is sucked in, and there is a filter. Usually a filter will be on the bottom or on the top, or bottom or on the side. spark plug, which I'll get to in a minute, and the piston. That's how much clearance it has. Okay. And then this comes down, which creates a vacuum, which sucks in the air and the gas. Okay. Now, real quick, let me draw out my carburetor. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Gas and okay. Understand? So now you got this. You got the gas. Got the carburetor. Now, how does it spark? How does it make that kaboom? Okay. Well, there is a spark plug, and I have no idea how I'm gonna draw the spark plug. I'm gonna just draw something like this, I guess, and in it draw a little thing. I guess that's how it's gonna work. That's how it's gonna be. So boom. Okay, and that's basically spark plug. And then you might wonder, how does the spark plug get its spark? Well, it comes from two things. It either comes from an alternator or it comes from a magneto. And then in this case, it'll be from a magneto. And a magneto, for a brief understanding, I'll draw on this real quick. A magneto is just magnets. So it'll be, so pretend these are magnets. Pretend these are all magnets, okay? Okay, and they're perfectly spaced. And in those magnets, inside the magnets, or outside, inside, so these are on the outside. And on the inside, pretend that this is copper, okay? So all this is just copper, okay? And what's happening is this is spinning, okay? Going really, really fast. So whenever you crank that, this is connected to the crankshaft, which spins. And what happens when a magnet is spinning around a copper wire? It creates electricity, and therefore you get a spark. Now, remember, how does it know when to spark? Okay, because there's going to be the power stroke, there's going to be the intake stroke, and the power stroke, and then the exhaust stroke. There's actually 3 parts to this, but I only did 2 for simplicity. Okay. Anyway, so what happens is then this little magneto would be right down here by the crank. It'd be inside a little cover because you don't want anything getting in the magnets and then screwing it up and then screwing up your gap. Anyway, how does it actually know when to ignite? Now it could be, and I'm trying to remember it's called it's called spark gap. I guess it's called, basically it's these little points, and what it is there is a little thing like this, okay, little box, and there's a wire coming from the positive and the negative, okay, so positive, negative, and right here is, okay, so here's positive, so this is part of the positive and this is part of the negative, okay, and what happens is I gotta remember also how this works. I'm trying to picture the spark gap, the points. I think it goes something like this, and it has I'm trying to think, it has like a plate or something that kind of does something like that. And what happens is, it actually might be vice versa. What happens is, this, when it cranks over, will touch that plate, which then will create enough energy, electricity, to jump a gap, which will be able to jump this, and then go to the spark plug, which will then spark, which then beforehand would have sucked in gas and air to make the explosion happen, okay? Now, got that? Understandable? Hopefully you understand this still. Okay, now next up is we're going to be working on, or not really working on, how does the excess gases, so the exhaust, the fumes of the gas that exploded get out? Well, it's pretty simple. There is what you call an exhaust pipe, exhaust, however you want to call it. And before it gets to the intake, which is what you call the carburetor, that right below it would be the exhaust. Okay. And remember, it still has a vacuum, so it'll push up, and all the air, all that excess fumes will shoot out. That is pushing all that exhaust out the pipe. Okay, so be pushing it out. Okay, so we're gonna do a recap real quick. Here we go. So gas is put into the carburetor, and air is sucked in. Okay, air gets put into the carburetor. This is now spinning from a pull start or a push start. So this is already moving. Air is sucked in plus gas, and it's now spinning and rotating, and it's creating a vacuum that's pulling in the gas and oxygen, and boom. Okay, you get a spark. There's three stages. I only drew two, so you get a spark. Boom, spins around the drive shaft. I'm gonna call it the drive shaft. I forgot the name of it. The crank spins around, pushing it down, spinning it, coming back up, pushing out all the exhaust, spinning the magneto to get more electricity, which goes to the points, which then would pull more gas in and oxygen, and then boom, spark, repeats. All it does is this is repeating now. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I think I did an okay job of explaining how it basically works. Basic engine. This is a basic motorcycle engine. Not very hard to